Okay, so who here has a cell phone or some sort of phone, right? Or some sort of handheld device? Yeah, like a lot of us do, right? Now imagine this scenario. You're out somewhere, and throughout the course of the day, you see that energy bar on your iPhone. You see it go down and down and down and down. Less and less energy in your phone bar. Until you get to 1%. And wherever you are, you can't just plug in to an outlet because there isn't any one nearby. And so now you're desperate because you only have 1% of energy left on your phone. And you need it, you need it for like communication with people. You need it for like navigation to like where you're going to go. You need it for information that's important to your life and a host of other reasons and stuff that we become dependent upon our handheld devices, and you don't have any energy left. Well, I offer this as maybe an insight into what is happening in today's gospel reading. Because St. John the Baptist was very much aware of what drains our energy as human beings. First and foremost, of course, is sin. Literally just sucks the life out of us, right? But also a host of other worldly concerns or worldly activities that may or may not be sinful, but can distract us and can, like especially during this Christmas season, this holiday season, there's just all kinds of things that just can suck the life out of us. St. John the Baptist was very much aware of that. So much so that it's interesting that he himself left the world behind, like literally. Many Jewish scholars and Christian scholars believed, in fact, that he joined that Essene community in the Dead Sea, what we call the Dead Sea area now, where there was a community of monk-like Jews who left the world behind so that they could just constantly be plugged in to God. Now, not all of us can do that. Not all of us can get away for 3 months for a sabbatical, right? So what do we do with that? Okay. Well, listen to what he says. First, he addresses the sin part, and he's fulfilling the prophecy of Isaiah, by the way, right? Repent of your sins, and then prepare the way of the Lord. Make straight a path that leads to God. And it is interesting that he says, a voice of one crying out in the desert. It's just one of those kind of nods to like he lived in the desert, most likely with the Essene community. But he's come back into the world to first address the thing that most sucks energy out of us. But then he says, prepare the way of the Lord, make straight a path, or like a road, a highway that leads to him. Meaning that there's all kinds of things that can obstruct the road, like in ancient times. And it's not like in today's world where you can just call a government-funded crew to come out and remove a tree or, a mudslide or whatever. No, that didn't happen back then. When the roads got obstructed, it was a lot of work. And he even makes reference to knock down the mountain or, clear the debris or plow through the desert. I mean, he gives a lot of different images for us to consider. But the point is that in our lives, things get in the way. And those things that are a part of our life, a part of our way, can, if we allow them, suck our energy out. And just as we go through the day and day after day and week after week and sometimes month or year after year, we just feel ourselves fading. It could be problems with relationships, friendships at school or colleagues at work, or it could be health problems, right? It could be fears or the lack of the ability to trust in other people because we've been hurt. It can be money problems. It can also, of course, be the good things in life that we're gaining ground in, we're gaining victory in, but then other things get in the way, like pride. And in that pride, man, it really just starts to affect us, affect our relationships with others, affect our work, so on and so forth, right? So a lot of different things that are part of our way in this world can take the life out of us. That's why I think what St. John's message is so important. Because what is he telling us to make the way to prepare a way for? Not a what, but a who. He's the forerunner of the Messiah. And he knows that the Messiah is the one who is called to come into our world, not just then, and not just in general for humanity, but for each one of us. Called to come into our lives. And we are to prepare a way for him. We're to make a road to him, a straight line to him. Because he's the life of the world. He's the one who can restore us, like our energy, for our minds, our hearts, our emotions, our loves, our ability to focus on, like when you get low in energy, you can't focus. Our ability to focus on what's most important in this life. It's him. So in a very real way, I think that this image of a phone and just going through the day and just kind of watching your energy go down and knowing that with that energy going down, you're going to be less able to connect with people, less able to navigate this life, less able to gain that information that is most essential to your life that we've become so dependent upon with our phones. And here now I'm not talking about phones and our lives from day to day in a secular sense, but God. What St. John the Baptist is telling us then is to make this connection, make a straight path to him so we always have this connection with him, so we can get to him, and not just at the end of life, but every day and throughout every day. Because he was introducing the Messiah to come into the world so the Messiah could connect to all of us. And not just to redeem us at the end of life, but to redeem every moment that we experience, good and bad, and to restore life in us. So how to do that? Well, I don't know about you, but I've heard, and in fact, I used to do this before the sabbatical, but during the sabbatical, I think I broke the habit. And that is, as soon as I wake up in the morning, I look at my phone. I haven't done that for a while. And I pray God I won't anymore. But I'll look at it, right? Well, when you wake up in the morning, because you want to connect to the world around you in whatever way, right? Well, maybe as Christians, the first thing we do when we wake up in the morning is to connect to God, to plug into him. At the very beginning, we've been renewed for the night, physically. Let's plug into him with just a simple prayer. It could be an Our Father, it could be some other prayer that's important to you. It can just be, Jesus, be with me today. Something like that at the beginning of the day. And then go further, because as we all know, the morning isn't the only time that we need to connect to God. In fact, after we leave our homes and go out into the world in our lives outside of our homes, there could be many things that drag us down, that drain us. And at those moments, we could just stop and say, Jesus, be with me. Be with me in this or that, or whatever it is that you're going through, the good and the bad. Here's another thing. There is no greater source of life and energy for us in every way that you could think of energy, and certainly divine energy, than God himself. And in just a few moments, you're going to come up and you're going to plug into God in the Eucharist. And he's going to plug into you. He's going to literally, with all of his divine power, come and dwell inside of you. And maybe just before you receive him, as you're coming up in the line, you can offer a prayer. Lord, I'm preparing a place for you. I'm making a straight path to you in this communion line. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to take away that's just draining me, whatever is when you put in me, whatever you want to change, whatever you want to transform, whatever you want to modify, whatever you want. Just help me to want that. Lord, just renew me, restore me, recharge me, re-energize me. And here we're not talking about a battery. We're talking about a human being. In fact, fully human and fully divine. Fully human in that he understands every part of our human condition, and fully divine in that he is the answer to every part of our human condition, and he's about ready to dwell in us. And we have him able to just raise our energy. Like raise our faith in him, raise our hope in him, raise our patience in him, like with other people. Raise our ability to be compassionate and merciful as we receive his compassion and mercy, and raise our strength. And then maybe one last one. Trust. I think in many ways there are many people in this life who really struggle with trust now, for any number of reasons from their own lives and their own history. And man, living like that can really drain you and drain everyone around you. So maybe just plugging into God throughout our day and starting with, Jesus, I trust in you. Or sometimes we struggle even with God's plan for us, and therefore our ability to trust in him. Jesus, help me to trust in you. And that's a prayer. That's an authentic prayer. And I think the more we trust them, the more we can give ourselves over to the Lord. And the more we are able to give ourselves over to the Lord, the more we're able to do whatever the Lord asks of us. To give away, to be in relationships with others. And that trust connected to him is a great source of being able to make a straight path to him, to prepare a way to him, meaning to remove all that clutter that obstructs us and drains us in our relationship with God, ourselves, and others. So what an appropriate reading that the church provides for us as we head toward Christmas, when we know a promise is going to be fulfilled. Jesus, the Messiah, is going to come. Not just into the world, but into our world. And that promise is fulfilled every time we get to receive him in this Eucharist. So prepare the way of the Lord and make straight for yourself a path to him. And then from that, a path for so many others with you to follow. And just see the energy inside of you rise and rise and rise.